Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another War of the Visions video, and today we are going to talk about the Lightning Selection Quest and just kind of selection quests in general, how they've gotten easier to do, and what a good strategy is to both do the Lightning Selection Quest from Quest 1 through Quest 10, and honestly, kind of all other selection quests. You could apply these methods to those at least for about the first 6 or 7 missions. Let's get to that right now. Alright, now I do want to say the first part of this guide is going to be applicable to not only the Lightning Selection Quest, but to all selection quests in general, because a really important change is on the table now. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to click on Lightning Selection Quest 1, right? And notice this is the group that I used to clear it. Now there's no special reward on Quest 1 for only using 4 units, but I didn't want to invest in 5 MR or lower rarity units when I only needed 4. And I only needed 4 because the big change that happened is once you get the Lightning Selection Quest unit, or whichever selection quest unit you're rocking, you're doing, you can use that unit in your group. Now, I couldn't obviously use it on Selection Quest 1, right? Because the completion bonus for Selection Quest 1 is Velne, the new unit, as well as 5 shards if you don't continue. However, the mobs in this, like look right here, hold on, let's back it up, look at this. I recommended unit level 1, job level 1. Like level 1 units can clear Quest 1. And in fact, as you scroll up, like Fight 5, recommended unit level 50, you don't have to invest very much in your MR or lower units to clear up through level 5, level 6, and like it does scale up. And by the time you're to Lightning Quest 10, it's unit level 90, you need legit strategies for like 8, 9, and 10. But as you're climbing there, you can really easily just kind of throw stuff at this while you're collecting enhancement materials for your new selection quest unit. And this, in my opinion, adds a really fun dynamic to the whole event, right? Because now the payoff isn't just at the end. You get to let this unit like grow with you as you're progressing through this little side event. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was really fun. Like my Velne hit level 99 right after you do Selection Quest 10, because this is the one that gives you the last 160 shards for, and it also gives you the last 200 Mind Spheres to push her to 120. So you can't EX them while you're doing it, but you can take like a level 89 unit, for example, into 10, you can, and then it just goes down. But she scales up with you as the event goes on and is a very useful character. Now, I want to show you a trick for clearing these early ones and getting all your missions cleared. Because one of the more annoying missions in the game on auto is use abilities no more than 10 times. Like typically this is something I hate, but there's a really easy fix for it if you don't know what it is. You have auto battle on, you click battle settings, and you toggle this to on. This will force your units to just use auto attacks, and I mean like you can just go wipe the floor with the first 5 of these missions with just your 4-man squad leveled up as much as you can. Now, I want to stick with the new player thing for a minute here, because a question I get asked all the time is like, where do I get the materials to level up my MR or lower rarity units? Okay, really importantly, don't use rainbow materials to level these, because you can just collect from MOG shops. Like when there's special events running, there's almost always, like let's go to the Tomb Raider event, for example. There's almost always Azure Imbued Fragments of Thought, Gold Imbued Fragments of Thought, Azure Vision Spheres. And like you will have so many of these Azure Vision Spheres, or the like gold version of these Vision Spheres, as you play the game and you're summoning and you're pulling dupes of like Phoebe and Shoot Cell over and over again. You'll just collect those. But if you need to get them, like most of these shops have MR or lower rarity unit leveling materials in them. That's where you can get them. Now, for example, let me show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to go into Dark, and I'm going to go to, here's Little Leela, right? So, limit breaking her just requires shards, and then the appropriate tier of the sphere, right? So for her, it would be the gold ones, etc. That's no big deal. Awakening them is a little bit more of a chore. Like here's those gold spheres. Notice I have 4,100. Like I ain't hurting for those. And in fact, you can trade them up into the MR tier, the gold ones, for like 10-to-1 ratio, which is really, even though that ratio sucks, it's not that big of a deal. Now, notice that it is a rainbow fragment right here. But if I click awaken, I can instead use my gold fragments. Boom, no problem. The only really valuable thing that it's consuming to awaken these units, and I definitely think that awakening them is harder than limit breaking them, is these leveling materials, right? The Fragments of Thought, the Dark Awakening Prisms. And guys, honestly, the best way to get those, there's a couple ways. One is if, again, you go back to the Mog Shop, as you're farming up those events, you can typically buy them with the event currency. Or when you're summoning, this is one reason why I like to do the 9-step banners, because the 9-step banners have summon tickets for those elemental awakening materials. But, like, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't need to, like, fully awaken these people, and you certainly don't need to EX them. I have cleared the Lightning Selection quest. I just finished it today, and if we look at my team, my only EX'd unit on my squad was Silma, who you can farm in her event, and they just give you all the material to level, or they give you all the, they give you pretty much what you need to level her to 120. That's it, just one. And typically I have about one level 120 unit, but I've definitely also done it with just level 99 units. And now that you can use the UR unit with them, it's an even better deal. Okay, I hope that it kind of helps the newer players understand how you kind of do this. Maybe right away you can't get level 10 cleared or level 9 cleared, but you can still start progressing. You can start building up your new UR unit and then use her or him to help you clear the quests. Okay, the second half of this video, I'm going to show you those higher level quests and show you the tips that I use to clear them. Let's go to that now. Alright, now let's start with selection quest number 7. And I'm going to pull the missions up on the screen here and talk to you about the ones that I found particularly annoying, and then I'm going to show you some of the fight and like kind of just talk you through the problems that I ran into and how I overcame them. So the missions you're going to want to pay attention to here are clear all of them at the same time, because that's going to get you some mind spheres, and the only really hard one is defeat 2 or more enemies simultaneously. This really isn't that hard of a mission. I put it on auto the first time I did it and almost one-shot it. The problem was there is a Moraga running around on this map. He's a really strong earth unit, and he actually killed one of my units on auto. They managed to get the double kill on their own. Like, I just kind of wanted to see if they could do it. They did that, but Moraga ended up killing somebody, so I had to do this one a second time. And that really wasn't a problem. I just kind of kept my squishy people away from Moraga. I had Ravi's tank him, and we burned him down. Number 7 really wasn't that hard, and it shouldn't be, right? Those are level 70 enemies that you're fighting, and if your units are level like 89 to 99, you're gonna handle that without too much of a problem. I want to point out, like in all of these fights, Silma and Salir having access to healing was a big benefit. Take it slow on these if they're close things, especially in the later fights. Like, these are 20 to 30 minute fights as you get to the end. Just pace yourself, be patient, don't make a mistake 22 minutes into a fight that costs you the fight. Okay, 7's really easy, just watch out for Moraga in my opinion. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so selection quest number 8. This is where Velne actually really starts to shine in my opinion. You're going to have access to her at level 79 in this fight, and I want to point out specifically how useful she is with the ability Mana Strike. This is a sub-job ability, Inner Lancer sub-job, a really good PvE sub-job when it can land on the mobs. Now, when we're talking about this fight again, we're talking about killing 2 enemies at once or clearing all missions at the same time. I want to take a special break right here and point out, like, this clear all missions at the same time and defeat 2 or more enemies, all this gets you is mind spheres. If you want to just push the content and come back and clear this for the mind spheres later, you get the regular shards just for winning the missions. So you can get your unit all the way up to level 99 without worrying about clearing all the missions at once. You can come back and get the mind spheres later if you feel like you need the level 99 UR helper to come back and do that. Okay, so the couple things to point out in this fight. 1, when you kill those little snakes off to the right, they spawn additional creatures. Those creatures are carbuncles. Those carbuncles cast reflect on some mobs. So I would advise, unless you're feeling really overpowered, don't just burn those snakes down and spawn those carbuncles and let them start running around reflecting magic back at you. Like, that's pretty annoying. Maybe kill them after you kill the rest of the mobs. That would be a good idea. And then, like I said, Velne, how are you saying her name? She really shines on this map because there's bosses with pretty devastating moves. And if she walks up to them and Mana Strikes them, it will take away all of their AP, and now all they are is just auto attackers, and you can just beat them down slowly at your own pace, get your heals online, stay healthy, and that's my tip for that fight. You make use of Mana Strike and kill the snakes maybe after you've killed the rest of the mobs so you don't get overwhelmed. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so fight 9, this is a really fun fight. The AI actually does like a legit PvP strategy, the like Berserker Mont, where he gets CT manipulated by Ildira, charges into your team and tries to berserk you, and I definitely lost to this fight a couple of times until I just decided to play around that early berserk and then let the fight come to me. What do I mean? Okay. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's look at the missions right here first, because this is an actual kind of unique mission one. You get 90 more Velne shards for finishing this one. You're still at level 79 for Velne, and that's particularly important because if you're going for quest missions on this one, you need a formation comprised of no more than 4 units. Now, like I said, if you're just going for the shards, you don't care about clearing all these, use 5, beat this quest down, and I'm telling you, it's very, very clearable with only 4, and with one of those 4 being your level 79 Velne, you can do this. I'm going to talk to you about how exactly I did it. Now, my 4 were a tank. I brought Ravis. I brought Shoots Out for damage. I brought Silma because she's heals and damage and probably the MVP of my team. And I'm rocking my level 79 Velne. Like, I made it a point to use her on all of these higher level quests, and she was great, by the way. So she's there for her Mana Strike to steal the AP from some of the more OP people in this fight. But the Mont in this fight is actually immune to this on early turns because he uses bells. So he just regenerates his AP. So they really tried to get you on this. However, the thing with Berserker Mont as a strategy is the Star Burial Pendant exists in the game. This just counters his move because it makes the units immune to Berserk. It's an AoE buff. This is what I use to get around it. Now, if you don't have access to this, if you notice where I started my Ravis on this fight, Mont will take his first turn and cast bells. He will then get Ildira's Theorem, her limit break that boosts his CT, and then by the time it's his second turn, the only unit he can hit on turn 2, if you don't move, is the unit in Ravis' spot. So I cleared this in a couple different ways. Well, I made sure it would work in this way. I didn't go through the rest of the fight, but you can set your tank up to just eat Mont's limit break. Don't worry about it. She'll be berserked for a few turns, and it's fine, right? You can just play around that, do whatever you need to do, or you can prevent the berserk. Now, as this fight plays out, what I really recommend is hang back. The enemies are very spread out, and they will kind of come to you 1 or 2 at a time. Burn them down as they come. After Mont drops his limit break on you, just burst him down. Ildira will very quickly overextend, and she's a water element unit, so you can just burst her. Like Shoots Out at level, I think my Shoots Out was level 98, was just one-shotting her with the Buster Sword, or you could just, jamming thrust into another attack, whatever. As they overextend, take them down. There are some scary units in this fight. Laswell is one of them. I don't worry too much about Charlotte, like she didn't bring a lot of damage. Gilgamesh shows up later, Seymour. Save your Velne's Mana Strike for Hallett. It's not Hallett. It's Hallett's bro, Laswell, and Gilgamesh, and it will just nerf them into the ground. All they can do is auto attack at this point. Play back, play like standard, right? Have your tank gather aggro, have your Silma or whoever you're using to heal, keep everybody healed up, and have your DPS kill people. It's actually a pretty straightforward fight once you get around that early cheese mechanic that they're running, but it's fun, right? Having to think through that is fun. And so play with this fight. It really feels like an event fight, and I really, really enjoyed it. Okay, that's my tricks for 9. Let's go to 10. Okay, here we go. Selection quest number 10. One of the funner things in this game, these are like 20 to 30 to 40 minute fights a lot of times, but take them slow, don't make mistakes. There's a lot of things you need to pay attention to, especially if you want to clear all of the quest missions. Now, let's point out what those quest missions are. 1, don't pick up crystals. Like, this is one that the first time I did a selection quest, I nailed it on fight 10, except I picked up a crystal and ruined it. That cost me 120 Mind Spheres. I had to redo the whole fight again. That was a pain, so don't accidentally pick up crystals. There's a lot of mobs. Just stay away from the crystals. Okay, You also have to make an elemental chain of 5 or more and defeat 3 or more enemies simultaneously. This is actually not that hard on this map. It kind of throws you the perfect opportunity to do these early on in the fight, so you can just check both those boxes and move on with just worrying about winning the fight while not picking up a crystal. Okay, now let's start with the beginning of this fight and the 5 elemental chain. There's going to be an Igaion. It'll be the only thing on the map. It's a big boy, and he's coming at you early. What you want to do here is just get your 5 elemental chain out of the way. It's actually just not hard. He's going to run all the way up to your group. Like, I didn't move early. I just started putting buffs on, get my AP regen, get some of my early turn buffs going. He walks up to you. He's going to AoE your group. No big deal. It doesn't actually do a ton of damage. Then you can build your chain. Now, Silma has a double hit move called Resistance Break. That will help you get your chain to 5. That's what I use to 5 chain it. And the thing with these Igaions is you can stun them. For me, Ravis and Silma both have access to a move that stuns the enemy, so I just kept him stunned, and that prevents these Igaions from casting some really annoying spells, like AoE damaging spells, and buffing their defense and spirit to the point where you just drain your abilities and your AP, and then that makes clearing the rest of the fight hard, because spoiler alert, there's another Igaion that spawns as the very last thing you have to kill here, so you need to have something left in the bag when he comes. Now, after you kill that Igaion, there's going to be the opportunity to get your triple kill. 3 turtles are going to spawn, as well as a Monk Engelbert and a Frederica. So the Monk Engelbert is really slow because he's Engelbert. He's going to hang out at the back. Those turtles are your next focus. You need to get your tank, or whoever you want to get hit, out just far enough that you can draw the turtles towards you. Don't step up onto that middle platform. When I did that, that caused them to move in like weird patterns, and then I couldn't hit them with AoEs, but let them come to her, use your healing, have her cast Sentinel. If you're using, like, I highly recommend having a tank on these. So have Ravis step forward, use Sentinel, absorb their hits, then just drop AoEs on them. Shootzel has his Hazard Breaker. You have Thundera and Thundaga from your mages. Velne actually has Earth and Glory, which can hit in a big time AoE, and I use that to like kill them in one of my messed up runs. So you have a lot of AoE options. Magic particularly good against them because they have their Hardened Shell buff on. There you go. That's it. Like, focus really hard on getting this first part of the fight right. If you mess that up, just start over and do it again. Once those are dead, here's how the rest of the fight's going to play out. You now have a Monk Engelbert and a Frederica to deal with. If you can hit one of them with a Mana Strike from Velne, they are just walking auto attackers and you can burn them down. Now, when you kill Frederica, adds are going to spawn, right? You're going to get a Coral, a Sakura, and 3 Toneberries. The Toneberries have move 1, right? But if they get next to you, GG, they hit for like 9,999 damage. They'll one-shot your units, so you have to not let the Toneberries get close to you. You need to burn them down from range. Focused first, though, on killing Sakura and the Coral. The Coral has a stunning move, and if he can get up on your team and stun them, and that lets the Toneberries get up on you, all of a sudden, it's over, right? You have a KO'd unit now. You might not be able to raise them because, like, Solier has access to raise, but not full life. You have like a 30% chance of landing that on your tank. It's no good if you get killed. So stay away from the Toneberries, burn down Sakura and Coral. Again, a Mana Strike onto Sakura, and she's worthless. You can just take her out at your leisure after you Mana Strike her. Velne is really good on these fights. Like, I really enjoyed using her and having her progress. Like, I'm off that. Let's talk about the rest of the fight. Okay. So you kill Engelbert, you kill Frederica, Sakura, Coral, and you kill the Toneberries from range. You feel like maybe you should be done, but you're not. A second Igaion is going to spawn. Now, for me, what I highly recommend here is just hang back, like, stay away from him. He spawns up towards where you started. I suggest finishing off the Toneberries back in the area where, like, Sakura and the Coral spawn, and fight the Igaion on that big middle platform. But buy yourself some time. Buff up, get your heals back on, right? Like, get your team ready to go, because this Igaion is the last thing. Here's the deal. You need to have some excuse me, you need to have some stuns left in the bag. Silma's stun is really good, 100% hit chance for me. Ravi's, even with only 50 faith, had a 95% chance to land her stun. I had about 4 stuns left in the bag when I got to this fight, typically, and that was enough to keep him mostly stun locked. So I waited for him to come to me, stun locked him in place, and burned him down. The only thing to be careful here is he does proc a counterattack with range 2. So if your Velne or your Schutzelt or your Ravis is low HP and the guy's not stunned, if he's stunned he can't counterattack. But if he's unstunned because like his turn came and the turn orders just didn't work out, maybe don't attack him with a low HP unit from range 2 because he might counterattack and kill them and you've ruined your whole fight. But it's really not that hard. Just play it safe. Take advantage of your healing, your buffs. Ravis will have hate pretty much most of the fight because honestly a lot of the fight you're not even getting hit that much. So get your taunting blades off with her if you're using her. And that's it. Once you've done that, you've cleared it. And now you have, if you cleared all the missions on all of them, you have access to a level 120 UR unit in Velne. I don't know if she's particularly really good, but I'm going to build her up and try to use her because, you know, she's a spear waifu and y'all know what the church is all about. So I just finished these myself about 10 minutes ago. Well, now it's about an hour and a half ago because I've been sitting here recording a video, but I really enjoyed it. Okay, if this video was helpful to you, please hit like and subscribe. I know there are going to be other ways to clear this. This was my experience doing it. I have not watched anybody else's videos. This is just how I did it. So I hope it helped. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend. It is Sunday morning when this comes out. You guys, kind of a tragic story. My 2 favorite football teams play each other this Sunday. I'm a Chiefs fan because I live in Kansas, and I'm an Eagles fan because I've lived all over the USA and been one my whole life. And they play each other. Oh, God. I'm going to watch the game, and at least one of my teams will win. I hope we don't tie. Okay, I'm leaving. Goodbye. That rhymed. Peace.